What's up guys, it's TheWaggishAmerican here, today bringing you another model build video. Today I'm going to be building Revell's 1/72nd scale Arado AR555. Now, I have gone through the kit a little bit. The box does not usually open like this. I don't like side opening boxes, so I usually go through and cut this so I can have it as top. It's a really interesting kit. It would have been a really interesting plane in real life. Obviously it never existed, and I think Revell's done a really good job of molding it. The majority of the kit is two pieces, and these are, if you think about it, these are very large pieces for a plastic injection model, a plastic injected model kit. These are some of the large, besides maybe fuselages, these are some of the larger pieces you'll see, and they're mostly flat, so getting through that with no warps or anything, kudos to Revell. So once you get past the main body, which is very nice, especially, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this yet. I'm going to do something special, but look at all that gear detail just molded in there. And all the ribbing and stuff on the bomb bays, so that'll be interesting. Besides that, the clear parts are really nice. They're a little bit on the thick side, and so they do warp. But they're blemish free, so once you get past that, there's really not very much to the kit. There's only one more sprue. I don't remember what these came on, if there was another sprue that had the main body plus these, or if these came on this sprue, but you also get your 4 tailplanes. There's not much of an interior to this kit, and there's also not much of an exterior, so there's really not many pieces to this model. But they're all molded very nicely. I didn't notice any prominent sink marks, and I didn't notice any big. There's actually one right there. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in on it. I don't think you can. Well, it's not. There you go. So there's a couple tiny sink marks on some parts, but no real flash, no real damaging ejector pin marks or anything. Couple little bits of flash, but nothing major. So the instructions are pretty nice. They're your typical Revell Germany instructions. The decals are those really nice matte. I think Cartograph is doing these decals now, and they're very nice. The only thing I don't really like is the markings are kind of confusing because they call for RLM 76, which is a light blue, but on the box art it shows a light gray, so I'm not quite sure what they want there. I'll figure that out later in the build. Speaking of the build, I'll see you guys at the beginning. As usual, I began the build in the cockpit. I attached as many parts as possible for this subassembly. Once the cockpit was complete, I airbrushed all interior parts with Tamiya XF63 German Gray. Once the paint had dried, I brushed a coat of Future floor polish onto all surfaces. I painted small details in the cockpit using various Vallejo browns, red, yellow, white, and black. Before sealing the airframe halves, I installed the upper turret. I also assembled and installed the rear turret according to the kit's instructions. With all necessary sub-assemblies completed, I finally attached the airframe halves. The fit here was slightly off, though it was easily corrected with a bit of force. I then glued the stabilizers in place using Tamiya extra thin liquid cement. Finally, I got to the main point of the kit, the painting. This kit contains very few parts. However, it is physically fairly large, especially at 72nd scale. This presents the perfect opportunity to focus on the paintwork. I began by airbrushing pre-shading with Tamiya NATO Black. I should also mention that this scheme is not included in the kit. However, this being a what-if subject, you can pretty much do whatever you want, as I did. With the pre-shading complete, I built up several light coats of Vallejo RLM 78, leaving the paint transparent enough to display the shading. The upper surfaces and engine nacelles were painted in a very similar fashion, using Vallejo RLM 79, later post-shaded with Tamiya Desert Yellow. The camouflage splotches were applied freehand with Vallejo RLM 80. Once the paint had cured and the Tamiya clear had been sprayed, I began the grueling decal process using microset and microsol. After sealing the decals with Tamiya clear, I used Florida Model's Dark Earth Wash to highlight the panel lines. Once the Vallejo matte varnish had dried, I attached the engine assembly in place. Once the engine was in place, I was able to assemble the landing gear. All that was left was the addition of some small parts and off-camera weathering, and with that, the build was complete. Alright guys, and here's the finished model. Unfortunately, I lost. Well, I didn't lose. I tried to record, but I ended up having such a hard time with all the fiddly bits. I did not record the construction of the landing gear door covers. It wasn't that they were complicated, I just had a really difficult time getting them to line up properly, so I did not end up recording them. The kit as a whole, really liked it. It was strangely low parts count, actually. For as large, it's a pretty physically large model. It's got about the same wingspan, actually a little bit larger wingspan than the 1/72nd scale JU88. But it's a very low part count overall. This video is pretty short. Mostly because there just really wasn't that much to show off. It was mostly a painting project. I had it sitting on my shelf for weeks waiting to be completed, and I finally went and got it done, and there you go. I was really happy that this wasn't warped. That was my big fear after working on my Condor, that this wing was going to be warped as well, but it wasn't. Glass parts were really nice and clear. Overall, everything fit really well, and I would definitely build another one. The decals were also fantastic. I do want to note, though, for anyone who wants to build one of these in the future, the swastikas are not, the swastikas are not included. I pulled these off of a Tamiya HE162. But other than that, everything you see here is what was on the kit. This was the second time I've ever used Easy Line, and this is the greatest stuff. I had a little bit of trouble getting it to attach, but the ability to do this with my rigging is fantastic. So if you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.